I've got hamsters on my mind because I'm back for more hamsters puzzles in HAMSTERMIND. Last time we've reached A7, and there is another language puzzle here, but that reminds me that there is a previous one we have not solved back in A5, because when I was in A5 I was like, oh, I have to go back to the previous language puzzle I haven't solved, and then I did that, and then I forgot to come back and do this. So let's take a look. So last time we've learned that it is about just matching the number of the shapes, but here we introduce the arrows. We have a mention of them in our notebook notes. Right here it says direction, number, and the dummy reversi. So the triangle is potential direction because there's still a question mark on it. We know we can't rotate the shapes, right? And we learned that we didn't have to. The previous rules were like, it doesn't matter, as long as you have the amount of shapes, that's fine. So is it direction on the board? Like a line with an arrow pointing up has to be in the top row? Yes, okay, well, at least that worked. So now we have an S pointing right. So let's try to put it in the middle, and I assume it's not going to work, yes. But if I put it onto the right side, okay, so yes, we're learning. Then we've got the square, and an arrow is are both the arrows attached to the line, and therefore the line is at the bottom left, and then the square can be wherever. Yes, okay. So yes, now we have shapes with multiple lines. So we have the semicircle up and right, so here. Line down and right. And the S shape just right. And we have only one right remaining, so it has to be here. Yeah. And then we have an arrow, but it's filled. Because all of the previous ones were not filled. So if we just put it up here, that doesn't work. Is it reverse? Yes. So now it has a filled up and down. Oh no, because it's a semicircle and a line. So the semicircle has a filled arrow up, so is it at the bottom? And the line has a filled arrow down, so is at the top? Yeah, okay, so the filled ones are reverse. Okay, so now it's just a square. It has arrows all around, but they're all reversed as well. It would just end up in the middle. Even more shapes. So we have a horizontal line at the top, which has a unfilled arrow to the left, but then it has a filled arrow to the top, which means it's at the bottom left. Then another vertical line, 2 arrows left and down. But that would mean it's also here, right? Can they overlap? Can 2 lines be satisfied by the same placement? We've got an S shape that's pulling up and down. The both arrows are reversed, but that means it would be in the middle. And then the semicircle is up and down, filled in, flipped, so the middle, and then an arrow to the right. Okay, no. So it's just those lines that are a problem. Because the vertical line, it has unfilled arrow left and down. So previously that worked as bottom left corner. And the horizontal line is left, and then filled arrow up is down. Would it work for it to be in the middle, right? Is the meaning just not up instead of actually fully reversed? Okay, so I think slight correction to the logic is that the filled arrows are not like full on reverse, that if it says up, it goes into the bottom row. I think it's that it means not the top or any other direction, obviously, but in that case it was not the top. Learning more. So now we can go back to A7 and see if I can figure out the next stage of the language. So here we have information. So it's that 1 question mark and then 5 exclamation mark. And then we have the chest with the treasure that's up the top, and then a beam of light down all the way to the bottom. So we have to like get light through the hole of the pyramid or something like that. obscure information, yes. Then there is the other language. So those doors we learned before that they open when we have enough scarabs, but inside there's the hint to the language puzzle to actually explain it instead of learning ourselves. So I'm not keen to explore them yet, right? Unless I get stuck. So let's see this panel. Okay, so now we have circle, and that was about number, right? All our notebook says is number. So if I stick a line, that says fine. So now I have a line and a line, right? This is something we've done before, but now there is a circle involved. That's not correct. We still don't quite understand the weight situation, right? Because you can change number, actually. It doesn't call it... I don't know why I got it in my head that it's a weight. But it says change number. So could it be that one of the lines need to have 1 on it? Yes. But it didn't... In the first puzzle, it didn't have to. Because there were no other lines, that doesn't mean they all have to have a different one. So in this case, it would be one line has 2 because there are 3 lines. Then the other one has 1, and then one line with a 0, right? So they each have an individual number on them. And that works, okay. So we basically then have to count the shapes, and then if there are more than 1, we have to give them different numbers. We need a square, and that I think can be with 0 because there's no other square. Then we need a line, and then we need 2 semicircles, and one of them has to have increased number? No. Does the square also need an increased number? No. Okay, but because this is the first puzzle we have of this where there are different shapes involved, right? So we have to learn something new here. I've been wondering whether the way the shapes overlap, does it have any meaning, right? Because it's like they overlap in various ways to make shapes, but I don't know whether it has impact on how we enter the answer, or is it just purely to make us have to think about what shapes are those when they're intersecting. So by the previous rules, I think yes, we need to increase one of the semicircles to 1. But then what? If we increase the square to 1, that's incorrect. If we increase the square to 2, that's correct. But there is more. Now we have one with a filled circle. So we will have... Like, it does feel like some of the rules follow, and then some of the rules you have to make a certain leap in logic to figure out what the meaning is, and then get it all. So in the triangles, the meaning of the filled one was not that, right? So it was not that direction, not that row. For here, it would be not weight. So are we saying we don't want to apply weight? Okay, so that eliminates weight. And if there's 2 of them, that doesn't seem to have a lot of meaning, right? But if there were more, that may have consequences, because obviously how we number them will be important. So here we want one line that's on the left side, and then we want one line without weight. No. Do we want weight on it now? Because I'm not sure, actually. Well, now we have more, right? We have 3 lines. So I think we will always have the count of shapes. Like, so far, nothing indicates that something completely removes a shape. There is no directional, so they can all be here. And then we have one that wants to increase, and then one that doesn't, which means we're allowed to have 2 of the same weight, but not 0. 2 at 1? Yes, okay. Slowly forming in my brain, but not fully. Like, is the order of shapes important? Because this is like the last one, except the things are attached differently, right? Where the circles are is different. Is there a direction we're supposed to read this? Because again, if we did like before, we would have 0 and 2 ones. Okay, so this one was 0, 1, 2. I don't actually know why. I was just like, well, I'm gonna try things to try and understand, because clearly the logic I'm trying to apply is not working. The one on the left, we have this shape, and that gives us 0, 1, 1. But then with that circle, open circle, move to the other line, and that gives us 0, 1, 2. which works more like this one on the left here, where we had 3 shapes intersecting, 3 lines intersecting, and 2 of them had open circles, and that was 0, 1, 2. Interesting, but also confusing. I mean, I might be just misunderstanding the open circle as well, since I didn't quite get why this one, the square was 2 and not the semicircle, although I thought that was because they want the same shape to be in sequence. Curious. And then we're going into this, where once again is 3 lines, and we want 2 increases. Those 2 want an increase, which would tell us unique numbers. But then one of them doesn't. Right? The vertical is like, no, filled circles. We don't want an increase. Okay, so this is 1, 1, 2, which kind of makes sense to me. So now we have 3 lines again, arranged differently, but does it matter? Because based on that 2 previous puzzles with the 1 vertical line and 2 horizontal lines across, it does matter that they're touching differently. Because one was 0, 1, 1 and the other one was 0, 1, 2. So 3 lines. Then if it was just, we have a line with nothing, so it's a 0, line with 1 that increase, and then 1 line with a full circle, so it doesn't want an increase. That would be it, but it doesn't do it. Would it be 2 zeros and a 1? No. 1 and 2 2s? No. They're all intersecting, right? That's the difference now, is that previously one of the lines was intersecting 2 of the other lines that had circles. But right now each of them is touching another one. That might be of significance. It's 0, 2, 3. Again, I'm like trying things out and then trying to work backwards from me trying it, because yes, they do just pop in the answers. Okay, so if this is 0, 2, 3, because I basically went like, well, if it's 0, 2 and 2 doesn't work, what if we make one of them 3? And that popped in. So I'm trying to understand. Every time I come up with like, oh, I think this might be a rule, then I find a puzzle that's like, no, absolutely not. It both feels like I get it and I don't. Like, I get it sorta enough to make some guesses about what the answer may be and eventually get there, but not enough to be like, oh yes, I'm 100% sure what's going on. So examining this puzzle with the circles further, I think I may have gotten off on a wrong idea about the meaning of the circles. Like, I kind of touched it at some point, but then I dismissed it because it still wasn't making too much sense. Again, because I still didn't get all of the rules. But I think maybe instead of the open circles, the one without being filled, having to do with just counting the unique numbers of the shapes and having to give them unique numbers, I think there might be more to do with intersections. So here it still works with 0 because there are no intersections. Then the line with the circle is intersecting with one other line, so 1 makes sense. Then here we have 1 line with a circle that intersects 2 other lines, 1 that intersects another line, and then 1 line, it doesn't have a circle, so it still keeps the number at 0 even though it actually does intersect once. It does then explain this puzzle. The square is intersecting 2 other shapes, is intersecting a line and a semicircle, but then the semicircle with the circle on it is only intersecting the other semicircle, and therefore it has a 1. And therefore, yes, the numbers don't have to be unique. They only have to represent the intersections. That all works for the open circles. So now for the closed circle, that's a bit more complicated, I think. And I'm still not entirely sure, but if we're saying the open circle is to do with intersection, then most likely the closed circle is also something to do with intersections, but obviously not in exactly the same way. And while in the triangles, the closed triangle meant kind of an opposite relationship, not stuff like that, it does not guarantee that for the circles that's exactly the same, right? The circles could be doing a completely different rule, so we shouldn't hang too much on. It just means inverse rule. So here it means a 0, right? So if we just went by the basic, oh, it's not the other rule, we're saying it's 0 because we don't count the intersections. But here it becomes a 1, and therefore the existence of another shape does change something. And therefore we could be saying like, oh, it's touching one line with another shape, but it doesn't quite follow later on. Here it still works on the left side because again, the closed circle is touching one other line with a shape, so it's 1. But here, the amount of intersecting is the same. It's still intersecting only one line with another shape, but we get a 2. And we know that the 0 is for the line with nothing and the 1 is for the line with an open circle. So the rule of it just intersecting other shapes falls apart by this point. So looking further at like the ones that are here and here, like why does it change? The only other potential solution that maybe makes sense at this point, although is not super convincing to me, because that would be a very elaborate rule, is that if we were to travel from the closed circle to the open circle, what is the number of intersection we could cross? And it's not just we must cross, because must would imply the lowest possible number, but it's almost like, what's the longest path you can take? Because, I mean, here, yes, we would be crossing one intersection, and here we would be crossing 2 intersections. There is no difference. Here it's like, okay, well, you have to go to 2 intersections to go to both the circles, or are we just going to the further away circle? Either works to say it's 2 intersections. I think, although if we were saying you go to one circle and to the next, it would be like, do you count them twice, right? Because it goes to the first one, then turns back around, goes to the second one, and then it could have been 3, but it's not. So it's like we're traveling to the last possible circle through the intersections, and here, the way it would be 3 is like, we start at the closed circle, we go down to the first intersection, we turn right, so there's another intersection, and then we go back down to that circle, go for another intersection, and that makes the 3 that we get in this case. This seems like a very much a stretch, to be honest. It sort of explains it, but it also is like, really? Is that really what we're going for? I mean, the thing is, based on this book, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tabs being to do with those puzzles, there are still 2 more we have not encountered, right? So we will be able to test those theories more as we go deeper, as I find more panels, and then potentially it may confirm it. It might turn out to be something completely different. But right now, I guess this is my sort of an explanation. Anyway, I've been here for ages just doing that, and there's actual puzzles waiting for me to solve. So let's get on with the Scarab. More of the blowing Scarabs. And we have spikes, so we're gonna have to be careful. Okay, so the Scorpion losing one move. Turning left is immediate failure, which means we have to turn right. That moves everyone like this. Now, if we turn right again, or rotate clockwise, I guess, we will fail because the Scarab will fall into the Cobra. Exactly. So it means we have to turn anti-clockwise, and that will be fine because the Scorpion gets blown away before he drops, and then he can actually move. No, he can't move to his exit. Because I was like, oh yeah, he can then just go down and hit his exit, but the Cobra gets there first and gets pushed, and the Scorpion also gets pushed to the left because it's sitting on top of a beetle. So if we go clockwise now, we can push him there, but we don't want to go clockwise again because we will fail. So we have to go anti-clockwise. So we have to go here. That has to be our next move. Anti-clockwise again will get us shuffled like this. If we go this way... Okay, that gets the Scarab out into his exit. Now, can I get the Cobra? Because the Cobra, if I move this way, should now hit their exit, yes? Now, what I have to get done is get the Scorpion to hit their thing from this side. Yeah, so now if I turn this, he pushes through and is in. Okay, got it done. And now for the main attraction of this room. We already have one light collected here, so we just have to get one more from within the maze. We've got the unhelpful horse. Yes, don't forget. I'm not used to spinning in that direction. It makes my head hurt. Is there anything you ever say that's helpful? I mean, there might be just cryptic puzzles. Okay, we can get the laser here, get the yellows eliminated. We can get the reds eliminated like that, but then we're stuck, so that doesn't help. Here we're stuck. I think we have to go up to here and rotate it. And we get a second exit. So we're able to go around, but we don't have our other exit open then. So we have to rotate this room. I was like, so we have to rotate this room so we can re-enter it, but then we can't get to here if that's the case. Curious. So yeah, this is the only way where this exit is accessible, and then we can't go to the rest of the tiles. So what other options do we have? Because it's quite easy to get stuck here because of the like those tiles that just have the three lines, right? Only one of them connects to the next tile, and unless we're in the correct one, nothing's gonna work. Oh, if we turn it like this, stand on this tile, then we will be able to go here and be on this bottom one. And then we can get in here, rotate it differently. And that lets us collect the right, open the stairs, and exit through here. Okay, so we're off on another side adventure. Because yes, it's not as simple as going straight in this pyramid. That brings us to the space section again. But why? We've already solved it, right? Oh, is it just so we can go between A and D? Like, I guess we've previously used that. Okay, something opened in A7. That's now a side section that's showing up on the map. But like, if I just go to A7, there isn't an entrance for me. So yes, what is this then? A8, the final challenge, 5 stars, okay. Oh my god, this is a 3x3 now, and we will be able to move tiles. Okay, well, before we get to that, Scarab? So now we're merging spikes and teleporters. What is the way we need to break out of here? If we go this way, we can get them like this. No. Okay, so we have to be quite careful about which way we're going with all of this. Like, we can break through here. So the scorpion is actually just on top of where it wants to be, but obviously without rotating, the spikes are not activating, so we can't just break through there. Rolling this way, 2 of them break through. So going this way, oh, no, because the Scarab loses his spikes once and then he cannot break through to his exit. It's like, if we did this, the scorpion will at least get to where he needs to go. But now, the Scarab is stuck because he won't be able to break through to his exit. And I think the Cobra will also struggle because the Cobra needs to, like, make it to the purple teleporter, go down, and break through there. And we don't have the spikes for that, I think. So we need careful planning, right? A lot of the levels you can sort of feel your way around a bit, go in a circle a bit, fix your positioning, and still continue. Here, one wrong move and you've lost the spikes and you're not gonna be able to do it anymore. So we can't get the Scarab out quite easily, right? Because if we do this and this, out they are. That's okay. What about the rest? The Cobra needs to go into the purple teleporter somehow. And the Scorpion needs to go in the orange. Okay, so now... No, I think the other way. I think if we go through here, yes, the Cobra will do it. And now it's just that the Scorpion needs to go through a bunch of teleporters. Break through into here. And go for the orange. There we go. Oof. Okay, Hamstein is waiting for us. So maybe finally he's got the boots. So let's ignore this puzzle real quick. Oh no, we've got 30 Scarabs, so it might just be the next outfit. There it is. I'm trying to think what this is, and the fact that he has a number 1 on the back of his hat. Now, weirdly enough, I don't watch it, so I'm not super sure, but I've seen some art of it, and it reminds me of the anime One Piece, I think, which is interesting because when we found one of the clues on those yellow signs, right? Especially the ones for the language puzzle. It says direction number Domi Reversi. When I see the saw the Domi Reversi, I thought it might be Latin for something. So I was like, it might be okay to just look up just those words to see if they're Latin without any context of the game, right? So I don't see any spoilers, just so I understand what it is. But yes, what it brought up most of is that it's something in One Piece. All of the results were stuff from One Piece. So I'm like, is this game requiring me to know about One Piece, or is it just a coincidence? I'm not sure. We will see, I guess, because I haven't yet seen puzzles with stars other than this final panel here. It does contain both empty and filled stars, but we know nothing about this yet, so we'll have to see that later. Now, from Anne-Marie, we get more stuff in our notebook for the Scarab puzzles. So that's the stuff at the end. So we had the Palindrome thing, which I'm gonna get back to because, yes, I've had more thoughts as well. The square thing, which I still don't know about. I do have 2 clues, but looking through them, I'm still not quite sure. I need to spend more time on them. Now we have this, which is the hieroglyphs, which seems to be... We can give them numerical values, and then the lines, the different squiggly lines would be operations, because it always says it's Scarab plus something times the Scarab again, but just the numbers change which they're assigned to which thing, and then they pick the largest value. Interesting. So one thing with that is that I don't think we've seen a yellow sign that has anything to do with this puzzle, because I think you're supposed to find at least 2 clues, right? One is what it gives you in the notebook, and one is that you find in the world. So I don't think I've seen the in-world clue for this yet, so it might make more sense later. And this thing with the mountains, that's definitely Morse code. And then that G at the bottom, it might mean some things. So the Morse code, if we translate it, so it's not it doesn't give us an answer, it just gives us another cryptic clue. The G is kind of suspicious, but also not quite clear to me. One thing is that obviously we have the start of the notebook where we have various random notes, and there might be things hidden here. I've been looking at this page with the owl, where it says the owl lady guessed my name, how? And then she has cards in a 3x3 grid, and they have one A1, B1, numbering on them, and then it says odd, even, small, big, deal, and break, right? This seems to be some sort of thing that makes sense, right? Because we're having opposites and stuff, and they're marked A1, B1, A2, B2, A3, B3. which is also what floors in the games are marked with, so it might be something to do with that. We also have this Cat Sparrow's game situation where it's showing us things, so like it looks like flavor text, but it could be clues potential. Another thing, yes, we also get this, which is another one of the Scarab puzzles, the one on the right where we got a yellow clue for something where the first one was 19. It says explore other dimensions, and then birthday, 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 which at the start we had birthdays, and it's day, day, month, month, year, year. So let's go to the Scarab room and let's talk a little bit about what's going on in there. So, the Palindrome. I think I was wrong about the Palindrome, and it actually got fully erased, so I'm gonna presume from that I was very wrong about it. Because the way I went to it, I sort of assumed like, oh, if we just make 3 digits, then we will be able to reverse them, and then it will all work, but then it turned out we couldn't even make 3 digits. The last number was a 2-digit. I came up with just a rule where it was like 3, 9, 55, and then 9 and 3 at the end reversed, but by the rules here, like my first is a number, my second is a triple of my first, my third is 1 more than 6 times my second, and my all is a palindrome. It sort of made sense, it also sort of didn't, because right, I had to like apply some rules I came up with, and then it didn't work. So now upon further analysis of this, I'm thinking, you know, what if actually, well, the numbers we get have to form the full 6-digit number code instead of like then reversing some numbers and adding them at the end, because that's a silly thing. So if we do that, we basically thinking we can end up with like a single-digit number, a double-digit number, and then a triple-digit number. That would make a 6, and I'm thinking a bit like, you know we pretty much can't start with a 2-digit number, because the lowest 2-digit would be like have 10. Then 10 times 3 is 30, so we already have 4 digits taken, right? And after that, 30 times 6 would be 180, which means we already have 1 digit too many to fit in the spaces, which means it has to be less than 10. And we know also it has to be more than a certain number, because if like I used 3 the first time around, and that only gave us a 4-digit answer, right? So it is somewhere between the 3 and the 10 space. Working through the different numbers, if we use 7 as the first number, we get 7, then triple that is 21, and 6 times that is 126, plus 1 is 7. So we get 7 to 1, 1 to 7, which is a palindrome. So let's see if that logic is better. Okay, let's try this combination. Yay! Okay, what we get? You found a beetle in the chest. They're hiding even here. Okay, so is that just an extra scarab? Yes, okay. But, now, I know that one is an extra scarab, that's fine, but like, definitely behind this one, and you can see it just about, there is something written behind it, right? So I think there might be other roads. Like, yes, potentially we can't reach all the scarabs unless we open those things, because they are locked in here, and you know, doing all the scarabs will mean something for the game. But there's definitely something behind this beetle that's more. Now, this one, the clue says you have to explore other dimensions. Now, I have may have stumbled to what that means, because I thought, oh, maybe there is something towards the end of the game. No. I have opened another save game because I wanted to see if the puzzles vary, right? In some games like this, you get stuff like the rules stay the same, but the examples they give you might be different. They do it to, you know, stop people like just copying answers of the internet, or to, you know, provide unique experiences. So I wanted to see, like, for example, if the language puzzles give you different examples if you play, or if the Scarab puzzles give you different examples where you play. But instead what I discovered is that in each of the save files, the number they show you here is different, which makes sense because, yes, it shows you here 3 rectangles, right? And the number here is in the first slot, and that number is 19. But then if we go to the second save slot, you can see that it gives you the middle number. And this one is 12. And then in the third save slot, you get the final number, which is 25. So that just might be the entire thing, unless it's like something we need to then add to the other birthdays in our notebook. But we can try it, right? So it's 19, 12, 25, which is a date not so far in the past. Okay, that opens it, so we don't need to do any additional maths like it seemed to imply, like you have to add a birthday to a birthday to a birthday. Yeah. Unless that's a clue for something else. Okay, another beetle in the chest. Okay, so right now that's 2 additional beetles. I think I still need clues for those 2 here, and this one, I don't know. I just need to stare at it more until it occurs to me. So that's the beetles. And now what we got is what it said was the final challenge, but I don't believe it's the final challenge, right? Because the A8, it says the final challenge, question mark. And it's 5 stars difficulty, but on the clue we got about difficulty, it said it went up to 6 stars, and there wasn't a 6-star difficulty puzzle yet, so, you know, there is more. There's definitely more in this game, because actually one of the clues was also that like the maximum completion potentially is 213%, and currently I'm like at 120, which I assume is to do with the fact that I've been doing all of the side rooms, so I'm already crossed 100%, even though I'm still haven't gotten to the bottom of the pyramid. So yes, now what we have to do is solve this thing. So we need to get all of the lasers pointing at all the laser receivers to get to that light over there, behind all the jellies. So this tile here will need to be in the middle and all the lasers to the sides of it. But we've got a lot of rearranging to do for that. As first thing, this is the only other tile we can reach. So I guess we're kind of are going around trying to make connections to get the middle cleared. Okay, but we can't go back like that. If we return here, we can go back to that tile and then we can shuffle it to the middle. So that's a start, but it's not everything yet. Okay, well that was let us exit towards the jellies if this was here. Well, we have to fix the top tile, because it's facing the wrong way around. But that means we need a tile that even connects to it. Which, I mean, the middle one did, that's for sure. So we can just come here. Yeah, okay, turning it around works, because we can still go here. We can get this done, but then the other 2 are out of reach. I'm not sure it's smart moving the middle tile away. Then once it's here, it stays here. So that's almost it. Except this last one, right? We can't reach it and we can't do anything about it. We can't do this. But then again, we can't reach the one in the corner. Now if we move this, yes, they're all going in, all the jellies are gone, and we get the light in A8. So was this the final challenge? I think not. Yeah, exactly. We unlocked the room beyond the pyramid, under it. And we're in a light chamber, A9. There are some boxes here on pillars we can't reach. There is one light just on the ground here, and then the other lights are on the pillars. Well. Oh yes, that's probably the clue we saw on one of the boards, right? Where it shows like sunlight going down to the bottom of the pyramid for some reason. But I think this is something we're gonna get into next time, because like while this looks like potentially the end, I'm pretty sure it's not, because we're not yet at the 213% of the game. We haven't done all the scarabs, so there's more thinking to do, more exploring to do. And yes, there should be like at least one more language panel we haven't discovered, because I think the 5th one might be the one that's upstairs. Get ready for more Hamster Mind. Let me know in the comments what you think of this so far. How do you think the puzzles are going? And if you enjoyed this one, consider liking or subscribing. Thank you to channel members for supporting the channel, and I will see you soon on another adventure.